In this lecture, we're going to learn about selecting islands on the UV map. What are islands? Well, basically, when you unwrap an object, you can divide it up into islands. These are a series of faces that have been unwrapped based on where you have marked your seams. We're going to learn how we can select these islands, and as a bonus we're also going to learn about the stretch feature. So let's have a look at this in Blender. So to get a good idea of this, I'm going to use Suzanne the monkey. So I'm going to delete my cube with X and enter, and I'm going to create my monkey Suzanne. So I'm going to go Shift and A, Mesh, and Monkey. Now I'm going to make Suzanne a bit bigger, so I'm going to press Scale 2 and enter. Next I'm going to go to UV Editing, and we can actually zoom out a little bit here. Next thing I want to do is I'm going to mark the seams for my object. So I'm going to go into edit mode. I'm going to make sure that this is toggled to invisible, as in this scenario it automatically sets it to visible when we have UV editing up. So I'm going to select it to invisible, and I'm going to deselect everything with A. Now we want to make sure that our seams link up. So we're going to find a starting point. So we're going to start by selecting Edge Select. Much easier to do it in Edge Select. And we're going to do this while holding down the Shift key. So hold down Shift, Select. So we've got these two. Now let's start creating our seams. So Shift Alt, and just continue to go Shift Alt, and we're going to go around the face of Suzanne. Just do one at the bottom here, and we're just going to go all the way around. So notice how I'm doing this. Very methodical approach, because you don't want to miss out any seams. If you do, you'll end up with a completely different unwrap to what you were looking for. Even if you miss out just the one, it can have a very dramatic effect on how your object is unwrapped. So for example, if I missed out this one, then yes, we can unwrap the face and the head so that they're apart on the screen, but because there's no seam here, they would still be connected at this point, and we don't want that. So we're going to make sure that that's also selected. We're going to press Ctrl E and mark seam. Press A to unselect everything, and that looks perfect. Next we're going to select everything by pressing A, then we're going to tap U, and we're going to select unwrap. So zooming in, fantastic. So we've got what looks like the eyes, the face, and the head. Fantastic. Now we could have marked seams for the ears as well, but that's not entirely necessary at this point. So how do we select islands? And what are islands? Well, basically each of these is an island. So we currently have 1, 2, 3, 4 islands. To select individual islands and move them about, we have to come down to the info bar, and we have 4 selection icons. We have Edge Select, which allows us to, not Edge Select, sorry, Vertex Select, which allows us to select and manipulate our vertices. Edge Select, Face Select, etc. The last one, however, is Island Select. Once we've clicked this, we can right click, make sure you right click, and it will select that entire island so that you can grab and move it about. Like so. You can always scale and rotate your objects how you want. So that's islands and how we can select them. What we're going to finish with is by showing you the stretch fill. So I'm going to tick the stretch box and we'll see that everything has turned, well, most of it has turned blue, some of it's green, etc. Basically, this gives us an idea of how the texture will be applied to the faces. And to summarize, basically, the darker shade of blue, the better your texture and the more detailed your texture will be applied to that face. So we can see, if we go into face select, that these are very good in terms of texturing, very good indeed. However, these faces are much lighter, so the texture will actually be quite stretched. If we zoom in towards, these are the ears, so this is the ears area, which is why it's all mangled up. We can zoom in further. We're getting a lot of greens here. Now some of them are very dark blue, which means some of them will actually be filled in very nicely. However, they kind of take that, and what's around them, the faces around them, are tremendously stretched. Basically, if you look at your UV map and you see with the stretch fill that you have any of these green faces, you basically want to try and avoid that. So it's good common practice. We're not going to do it now, but it's good common practice to try and UV map your object and to try and sort these out. And you want to try, your main goal will be to try and make your object as uniformly blue as you can, because the more navy blue faces you have, the more of the object is going to be textured correctly. So there we go guys, thanks and see you next time.